give me 1 second, but it's from Alessandra. I really, really, really have a rough time saying her name. But ICE is now able to target anyone suspected of being trans. And there's this great video to go along with it. Oh.
They weren't problematic enough. ICE has been given a new target, and it's the trans community.
Thank you.
Yesterday, the regime finalized this rule where green card applicants have to list and indicate their biological sex at birth during all stages of the process. But now they're also extending that to visa applicants. But this is where it becomes dangerous for the entire community. Thanks to Justice Kavanaugh, ICE has been allowed to profile people, anybody who they suspect, just as they have been stopping any black or brown person and sometimes putting U.S. citizens in detention for weeks at a time. They are now allowed to do this with the trans community, which unfortunately means that anybody who's trans, especially people who are black and brown and trans, ICE can stop them saying, oh, they may be an immigrant, they may have a visa that has things incorrectly marked. So this is giving ICE free rein to pick up really anybody who is trans or even...
Yep. ICE has free rein to pick anybody up. And they could literally say this about anybody. They could say this about literally anybody. Yesterday, Trump admin finalized new rule titled Enhancing Vetting and Combating Fraud in Diversity Immigrant Visa Program. For those unfamiliar, Green Card Lottery is a program set up by the Department of State. Annually awards green cards to about 5,500 applicants, randomly selected from a pool of 20 million. From all but a few countries, a large immigrant populations already in the U.S. Under this rule, State Department will now require applicants in the program to indicate their biological sex at birth. Draconian. Just draconian shit. During all stages of the process, even though that differs from the sex list on the applicant's foreign passport or other identifying documents. As if that wasn't enough, the rule currently mandates that all applicants submit their passport information to scan their passport's biographic page with the aim of combating fraud. Marker reflected in the sex field on any visa application, including the entry form, should match the applicant's biological sex at birth. Yeah, dude, you gotta hate them. Well, what constitutes a fake birth certificate is currently a mystery. Trump admin previous actions can provide a clue. Already, Trump has directed the federal government to not recognize legally issued birth certificates in 2 cases: birthright citizenship and trans people. Stipulating that birth certificates issued by states which states have sole jurisdiction over to children of undocumented immigrants or tourists will not be recognized, which is not legal. When it comes to trans people, the State Department does not recognize any gender marker amendments on birth certificates, even for foreign births. When issuing passports, as these examples show, Trump refusing to recognize trans immigrants' birth certificates isn't just within the realm of possibility, it's something he's done before. Furthermore, the Trump admin has explicitly designated the misrepresentation of sex as grounds for ineligibility in some circumstances, according to State Department guidelines released shortly after Trump signed the executive order targeting trans athletes in February 2025. So this was last year, but dude, the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act, man, it's such a dangerous fucking bill. It's a incomprehensibly dangerous bill.
President Trump vowed this week not to sign any bills into law until a sweeping new voting bill is passed. Our White House correspondent Liz Landers takes a closer look.
And this is, the trans thing is tacked onto this.
At its prospects.
Early Sunday morning, hours after returning from Delaware, where he took part in the solemn observance of the return of remains of 6 U.S. soldiers killed, President Trump posted about the Save America Act. Quote, it supersedes everything else, he wrote, and, quote, must go to the front of the line. I, as president, will not sign other bills until this is passed.
And perhaps most importantly, I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act.
If passed, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, or Save America Act, would transform voting in this country in 2 major ways. It would require all Americans to prove U.S. citizenship when registering to vote, and it would require all voters to show an ID when voting in person or by mail. Voters submitting absentee mail ballots would have to provide a photocopy of their ID. The bill would also require states to frequently review voter rolls and remove any non-citizens, and it would mandate states share voter registration data with the federal government, which most states have refused to do, a move backed by several federal judges.
We don't want people that aren't citizens of our country voting. We don't want people that aren't studied, and we don't want people that can't...
He genuinely believes this, by the way. Trump genuinely believes that people are voting that aren't citizens.
Love our country voting in our election. So it's very simple.
But it's not that simple. By any definition, the number of ballots cast illegally and by non-citizens in American elections is incredibly small.
We know our elections are more secure than ever. We know we have more protections and checks and balances against fraud than ever. And we also know that this administration has gone out hunting for fraud with all of the tools of the federal government over the last year, and they have found virtually none.
A study by the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security found that of the 49.5 million voter registrations that were checked for the 2024 election, about 10,000 cases were referred for additional investigation of non-citizenship. That's roughly 0.02% of names processed. In Georgia, a 2024 audit of its 8.2 million registered voters found only 20 non-citizens who had registered.
If you're a non-citizen and you sign under penalty of perjury that you are a citizen and you're eligible to vote, you're committing a felony which could render you not only deportable, but also get you jail time. And for what? For to have one vote. So it's really not the way that elections are stolen.
And Americans are not overly concerned about the chances of voter fraud. In our new PBS News NPR Marist poll out today, 66% of Americans are confident their state or local government will run.
That's such a low fucking goddamn percentage. That's a shockingly low percentage.
For elections in November, which is down from 76% in October 2024. 33% of adults believe the biggest threat to safe and secure elections is voter fraud. Republicans are much more concerned about this than Democrats.
You need an ID to go and purchase alcohol. You need an ID to go to the library and check out a book. And so the president thinks you should have...
What libraries are you going to, dumb bitch?
Have an ID to vote in our nation's elections.
But requiring ID documents like passports and birth certificates could disenfranchise millions of people.
If you're poor, you're moving a lot, you're, say, a student who's gone away to college, you've changed your name because you've gotten married or for some other reasons, all of those people would have more difficulty obtaining these documents.
About half of Americans don't have passports, and many do not have a copy of their birth certificate. The Brennan Center for Justice estimates that more than 21 million Americans lack ready access to those documents.
Yeah, dude, all of this is just...
Anybody who they
accumulates into this.
think could be trans. For example, people who are not wearing gender-conforming clothes. I have been saying, they are not buying up those big warehouses just to hold undocumented immigrants.
Yeah. I called this, like, 3 years ago. I called all this, by the way. According to Kavanaugh's concurrence in the decision, the rationale extends to any reasonable suspicion based on specific articulable facts that the person being questioned is an alien illegally in the United States. Looks trans, regardless of whether or not they actually are a specific articulatable fact. So, like, a guy wearing... You could say, like, a guy with, like, longer hair. Or a woman who's wearing baggy clothes. Or a gay man. Or a bisexual woman. Or a trans woman, or a trans man, or a cisgendered man, or a cisgendered woman. Anybody can be detained by ICE at this point. More likely, cis people to have misrepresented themselves during the visa process and therefore more likely to have entered the country unlawfully. Like other factors, ICE uses as a burden both citizens and non-citizens. ICE cannot reliably determine whether or not a person is a citizen without physically checking their documents. Thus, ICE will be free to scrutinize trans people document and detain those who document show any inconsistencies or they face a heightened risk of sexual violence. Now that ICE has removed protections for trans people in its custody as well. They think you're disgusting and vile and evil and bane of existence, but they will fuck you. They'll rape you. Given Kansas left its trans residents with no way to identify themselves or to revoke their documents, this is also potential to burden the state's trans community with another devastating repercussion of extreme law. Because starting today, all trans non-citizens, permanent residents, and undocumented immigrants, H-1B workers, and tourists currently present in the U.S. are effectively Trump's mercy, and they can only hope he doesn't pull the trigger. Basically, they're all evil people. Evil, evil, evil people, dude. They're so fucking disgusting. Racial profiling is back, baby. Well, it's always been around, but yeah, dude, we're on stage 7. We're on stage 7. We were on stage 3 like a couple of years ago. And stage 1. And then stage 4. I remember in 2020? I think it was in 2020. I explained this entire chart to my mom. And I told her how trans people were on stage 4. This is even before it came out. And she was pushing back on me. And now she's like, oh my God. Holy shit. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh my God. Holy shit. Yeah, she's freaking out. Because she recognizes that they're all also evil.
Homeland Security.